Where Gajendra Shekhawat speaking.
निश्चित रूप से हम सब विजयी होकर के लौटेंगे, ये विश्वास है। भारतीय जनता पार्टी विजयी होगी, भारतीय जनता पार्टी की प्रचंड बहुमत से सरकार बनेगी और हम निश्चित रूप से भारत को विकसित बनाने के संकल्प को सिद्ध करने के लिए पूरे प्राण और प्रण की ऊर्जा से जुटे।
Rajasthan, very interesting story. A place where the Congress could make inroads, and it is largely because there was a BJP versus BJP scenario. So, to all my colleagues here who are busy looking at the updates on their phones, tell us about Rajasthan. What's the story there? Why does the Congress say that we should get about 7 to 10 seats? Where was the problem in Rajasthan, especially after that phenomenal win in the assembly elections?
But you know, Rajasthan is also going to be interesting into the Gehlot versus Sachin pilot flight, which I think is going to resume once again. Where the Congress is confident of is Sikar, Dausa, those areas, which is where pilot actually campaigned very extensively. Ashok Gehlot was told that you have to ensure, since you're not contesting elections and you don't want to, you have to ensure this time round your son wins, which is why bulk of Gehlot's time was actually spent in campaigning for his son. Now, should Sachin pilot be able to deliver those seats in Rajasthan and possibly in Chhattisgarh, I'm sure he's going to ask for his pound of flesh. That now I've proved myself, now you make me what you want to make me. So that churning will take place in Rajasthan. We saw what happened in 2019. It's not necessary that the ones who are in power at the state level also win in the Lok Sabha. I mean, they got a 0 in Lok Sabha, the Congress party. So, you know, and people vote differently, right? For state elections.
Rajasthan, a couple of the things that happened was, one, there was a section of the BJP which was unhappy that Vasundhara Raje was sidelined. So that aspect, the Jat factor was the other big factor in places like Churu, Junjunu, etc. Like Rahul Kaswan, who was I am told, reasonably popular MP, he was denied a ticket. Again, that's a seat to watch out for. I think it's not so much what the Congress did, but some of the missteps that the BJP did.
Absolutely.
Which
BJP,
probably,
in fact, in how many states is there this BJP versus BJP scenario, starting with Rajasthan?
Well, there is quite a few, because one does understand that a lot of people are disgruntled because Vasundhara has been kept out of active politics. That's something which is going to hurt them. This is what they feel. But the seats that they're focusing on is Churu and, you know, probably the seats that were lost in the assembly as well. So that's going to be costing the BJP quite a bit. I mean, 3 to 4 seats is what Amit Shah spoke about losing, right, in Rahul Joshi's interview itself. So the BJP is well prepared to understand that this is going to be a little bit
There'll
of a
be
change.
some losses in Rajasthan. In Uttar Pradesh, there are a lot of conversations on ground about a lot of different aspects. A tussle between Amit Shah and Yogi Adityanath. It started from there, and then it came down to the MP versus MLA scenarios. Some MLAs wanting to fix some MPs because the MPs tried to fix them in the assembly elections. All of this, a lot of BJP versus BJP conversations. Is that all going to manifest in the results?
Well, absolutely, because in Uttar Pradesh they have many problems. You know, for the fact that the western part of the election is something they're going to watch out for. If Akhilesh is able to score 8 to 9 seats, then there's little trouble for the BJP. There's also a narrative within the BJP over there saying that if XYZ seats don't come, then probably Yogi is going to be removed. Yogi himself had to clarify, Amit Shah had to clarify that nothing like this is really happening. So Western UP will be interesting, and of course Eastern UP is where you know what happens to the Afzal factor. That also
I actually got a chance to interview Afzal Ansari in Ghazipur, and I can see that whatever, you know, here sitting in the studio, we might feel that his family, Mukhtar Ansari and the family, has a legacy of them being called a mafia. Afzal calls himself and his entire family legacy that of a masiha. He goes to each campaign, and these are nukkar sabhas that he conducts. He says, reminds them that his grandfather and father were freedom fighters. A favorite story of his is that when Gandhiji needed an office space here in Delhi, he took out the keys of his Daryaganj house and handed it over. And then he goes on to say that agar mafia ko mara hai, to 4 तारीख को पता चल जाएगा कि जनता उनको प्रोत्साहन देती है कि नहीं, by making them win. So he is very confident, not just in Ghazipur, but in Ghosi, which is Mau area, neighboring Balia, from where Chandrasekhar's son is contesting. Also Chandoli next to Banaras. So that entire belt of eastern Uttar Pradesh, there are pockets where Samajwadi Party is pretty confident of doing a good show. And how will that affect Yogi Adityanath's prospect? Because this is an area which they lost in 2022 assembly elections as well. This is Purvanchal is supposed to be his battleground. So but that conversation is also happening.
Purvanchal has always been tough. It's not
there were two narratives that Kejriwal tried to create. A, he said Yogi will be removed. Secondly, he said 75 ke baad PM will not be there. And the third thing, he said that he's removing all the leaders to make way for Amit Shah. So that's a narrative that the BJP top leadership was forced to counter.
counter. But in Punjab, the numbers in News 18 mega exit polls are saying that AAP itself will not be there anywhere on the leaderboard.
But
They
it's
may
one
not
state
get
where the
anything in
Congress is
Punjab.
not too
The
bad.
Congress may take it away.
Yeah, but that's one state where the Congress has actually never been too bad. Organizationally, they have been much, much stronger, very aggressive. And the AAP seems to have lost its steam in Punjab. I mean, you know, there's a huge debt that they are running up. They are developing work which is not happening. So those complaints are very much there, which AAP is future with Kejriwal back in jail. If they don't get any seats in Delhi,
No, I think in Punjab, the Congress took an interesting call. I think it was Bajwa who essentially, led that call, saying that, look, if we ally with AAP, because they're already allied in Delhi, then the anti-incumbency, which you ask anyone in Punjab, there's visible anti-incumbency.
Yeah.
That entire anti-incumbency vote will go to the BJP.
Exactly.
So he took that call, I think, to say that let's fight separately. And I think you're seeing that. I think most exit polls are saying Congress will get anywhere between 7 to 9, 7 to 10. And most exit polls in Punjab are saying for the Aam Aadmi party, it's just 0 to 1. For which, I mean, you have a sitting government, a chief minister who had 93 MLAs, 2 years ago, and then to come back with just 0 to 1 MPs. I think that's a problem.
Now let's also look at some of the aspects. Which are the factors which are actually going to influence the result, either ways, in favor of the BJP or in favor of the opposition or in favor of the Congress-led alliance? One of the aspects that stood out was the OBC factor. How strong is the OBC factor? News 18 mega exit poll, we put out the data, we put out the information that nearly about 46 to 48% of the respondents out of 1 lakh respondents, voters, said that the OBC vote largely went towards the BJP and less towards the Congress party. Did you sense that on ground? Did the Prime Minister's OBC card, will that actually...
The Prime Minister himself is the biggest OBC
OBC,
leader that
yeah.
the BJP really has. And if you remember in the last cabinet reshuffle, there was an entire slogan which said, "Ab ki baar OBC Sarkar." So that's the kind of narrative that was being built. And in counter to the reservation policy that the opposition is speaking about, the BJP has been saying that if you're taking away somebody's reservation, if you're giving somebody a Muslim reservation, then which part of the OBC reservation is going to be cut? So that's the narrative also that BJP is trying to create in a big,
and the
big
Prime
way.
Minister's point, कि जो deserve करता है उनको हम reservation देंगे. So therefore, this whole narrative that the Congress is pitching for a reservation in which the minorities will benefit, 2006 speech of Dr. Manmohan Singh, somewhere down the line the resonance. But I think above all of this, it's the credibility factor. The OBCs or the minorities don't always go by these narratives. They say कि हमें क्या मिलेगा. So they are this convinced that maybe the BJP is the Sarkar which is going to be giving that benefit. Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Viksit Bharat will work for the OBCs. You'll be surprised to see a lot of minorities actually have ended up voting possibly for the BJP as well.
And the one thing that the Prime Minister said time and again, especially in the run-up to 2024, is Garibi sabse badi jati. That's the focus that is being
So
made.
one state where the caste factor I encountered a lot was Bihar. The Yadavs are their RJD's attempt, Tejasvi Yadav's attempt is last time around, they lost everything. The Yadav vote deserted them, the core vote base deserted them. This time, of course, you can see that some of that Yadav vote is coming back to RJD. But I also met Yadav supporters in Patna who said that, जात पात से उठकर बात करनी पड़ेगी अब, क्योंकि अब ये हिंदुस्तान वो हिंदुस्तान नहीं है जिस पे लालू जी राज किया करते थे. So Lalu Prasad Yadav continues to be a tall leader for the Yadav community in Bihar, but many of them are looking beyond.
But this caste conversation, largely among men, or are the women also equally conscious of their caste background and do they want to
Women
speak
are
on the
talking
caste
about
lines?
ration, free ration, getting that money in their bank account, the Ujjwala Yojana in some parts, the difficulty in getting a refill for their gas cylinder. Those are the conversations. And whatever you might say, whatever economists might say about freebie politics, revdi politics, on the ground, that is the welfare politics that on ground.
I think this is the
women are
Russian
talking
election.
about.
If anything wins this
So-
election, it's the Russian
Russian, I
election.
agree.
I think
I
it's...
think, the one thing that we're losing sight of is that this is an election that determines that pro-incumbency is gaining political currency. It's delivery, accountability, and that's really what's driving this election for the Bharatiya Janata Party. That much one can say. The opposition, of course, tried to come into this entire equation by turning around that 400 par message that the Prime Minister sort of pronounced to say that, oh, he wants to do this to change the constitutional equations, right? And fundamentally, the BJP then had to sort of slightly backpedal on that slogan. So it was an interesting contest, like a cat paw sort of, cat and mouse game on the slogans. But then the BJP came back front and center, promising that the Prime Minister would deliver, continue to deliver to everyone without prejudice. And again, the reaffirmation of the fact that, of course, there was that little detour that the Prime Minister took and got a lot of flack for, which is to suggest that one community was, you know, in a pejorative sort of way, was being sort of patronized.
But did he tailor-make his speeches for each of the rallies? And, you know, can 90 seconds
I think
determine
this was
what...
several messages.
So this leaderboard is already on. 1 out of 543 for the BJP. That's because of the Surat seat, ladies and gentlemen. The leaderboard will start getting updated from 8 a.m. onwards. That's just about 60 minutes from now. 60 minutes from now, counting will begin. It's non-stop coverage here at the Battle for Bharat. The first leads in less than about 60 minutes now. 59 minutes and 8, 7, 6, 5, and it'll come down to about 58.